What's going on, kids? It is Dr. Remy LeBeau, and I'm coming at you once again from the X-Layer to provide you my very deep and insightful reaction to an entire season of magical television. I just finished watching the third season of Daredevil. Wow, that's my initial reaction. Wow. Wow. It's just so incredibly good. It's such incredibly good storytelling. I couldn't fucking believe it as I was watching it. It's a third season of a show. I thought I was going to get some good storytelling. I have liked everything that Netflix has done so far. I haven't actually finished season 2 of Iron Fist yet, but beyond that, like, I've really just always been 100% in on the storytelling for the entire MCU that is on Netflix. And so I've been a fan of this stuff, and I know it's good, but it's never been this great. Even though season 2 of Daredevil was pretty fucking good as well. And Jessica Jones I love, and Luke Cage I love, and Iron Fist is fine. And I really like Defenders. But this was another level of storytelling. Wow. This is the best season of television, I think, since the last season of Game of Thrones. And that's saying a lot given how much quality content is being produced these days. Clearly, like, all the companies are going crazy trying to create as much content as possible because they're all going to be trying to become the new Netflix, right? They're all going to be trying to compete against Netflix now. And so there's so much being produced, and a lot of it is actually really good. But not all of it is at the caliber that, like, Game of Thrones is, where it's like they put a lot of money into it, and the acting, the storytelling, every aspect of it is of the highest caliber, and every moment feels like it's the most important moment of television you've ever watched. And that is something that is very difficult to achieve. But I honestly do believe that it was achieved with Daredevil Season 3. Daredevil Season 3. I did not see it coming. So clearly at the end of... By the way, this is a spoiler-heavy episode. So if you have not seen the show, like, stop this review now. You don't want it to get ruined for you. You want to make sure that you're watching this, like, on your own. Just have it develop without anybody spoiling anything. Because it is worth the experience. My God, is it worth the experience. Anyway, so at the end of Defenders, like, that building fell on Matt, and we did see him wake up in the church, like we saw at the beginning of this season. So we knew that he was alive, but I thought it was going to be like a very sort of intimate tale of Matt and his family, and I had heard things about this being partly sort of inspired by this important storyline of Daredevil's where he finds out about his mom, and clearly we got that storyline here, but we got something else as well. All right, so before I go to the main event, let me talk about Nadeem, Agent Nadeem. Like, at first, like, I saw that they had, like, this Indian family in there, and, like, they had this Indian character, and I thought, well, this is semi-interesting, whatever. I mean, clearly it's an attempt to be a little bit more diverse in the storytelling, which, good, you know, we need that. But is it going to fit, or is it going to feel shoehorned? And, like, it did not feel shoehorned whatsoever. It fit completely. I love this character. I love this character's plight. I love this character's plight with his family. Everything that was going on with this character and his family, and his sort of conflict between what he was being forced to do and the predicaments he was finding himself in, and how he felt about that in relation to how it could affect his family, I 100% bought. And so just that element worked. Now, that is a testament to the quality of this season, because shows like this, shows in general, like, I think that where the problem lies on a lot of really good shows like The Walking Dead is, like, they'll have, like, really great, like, central characters, and that's great, but then, like, you have all these other ancillary characters, like, just kind of hanging around doing things, and the quality that they bring to the character is not that good. And so it doesn't elevate the entire quality of the show. It pulls it down, you know, but not in this case. In this case, every character in the show, be it the people in the church, be it the Froggy's family, be it Froggy's girlfriend, be it Karen's family and her backstory, like everyone was bringing their A game, and it was clear, and the storytelling was enhanced by the believability and the depth of the performances that we got. And so just that element was fantastic. The emergence of Bullseye was a masterful new introduction to another villain. And Kingpin himself said it, like, New York needs another villain. And like, we got that. We got that in this season. Like the backstory, the motivations, the performance by this guy. It was all so believable. And the thing about all these elements I'm talking about, they're not even like the main event. They're not even the main events of the season. And beyond that, of course, there's Daredevil. Matt Murdock, fucking whatever. What's his name? Charlie Cox, I think his name is. He is fucking fantastic, man. He is such a great actor. And like, he brings everything to the role, and every moment feels authentic, and everything he's going through, it just, you feel it, you know? It's like, it feels real, you know? And you can't help but then be sucked into the storytelling as a result of it. And the lead of the show is probably like, you know, it's like, it's the backbone of the show. It's the pillar that holds up the entire ability of the show to provide truth, to deliver verisimilitude, the appearance of truth. And it rests on Charlie Cox's shoulders, and he delivers 100%. Like, everything he was going through, like, it just resonated as authentic to me. And like, at no moment was I taken out of it and thinking, oh, well, this is bullshit. This is not Daredevil. Like, this is not true. It's like, no, this is fucking Daredevil. That's Daredevil. He's blind, and he's like going through crazy shit. He's getting beat the fuck up, and his friends are being threatened, and he's finding out these like amazing, like heart-wrenching revelations about his past, on top of dealing with the main event of the fucking season. Like, you know, we had season 1, and season 1 was really good, and season 2 was really good as well. But season 1, like, we got this really great introduction into Wilson Fisk, right? Like, we had a sort of snapshot of who he is at first, and then it all kind of unraveled, and then we saw the depths of evil that lay behind those eyes, right? And it played out, and then it felt like it was resolved, right? And then we kind of saw him in season 2. Obviously, he played a role with Frank Castle in prison, and that was a great few episodes that he cameoed in. But never once did I believe that they could do what they did with this season, which was like bring him back in the grandest style. They not only brought back the Kingpin, but they made him into the most authentic representation of this character that I think is even possible beyond the medium of comic books and maybe even the written page in a novel of some sort. Like, he was the Kingpin. He is the Kingpin. The way he was depicted, but it wasn't just like the way he looked and the way he carried himself in the performance, but it was like his reascendance into the world, like the degree of ability to have his hands in every level of power of society, and to corrupt and to wield it in a way that nobody could see coming, and was true to form, to the power that you would expect from this character to have. I didn't, like, when he was first he was in prison, and it's like, all right, here's the Kingpin, he's in prison. The only thing I could think is like, he's going to be broken out, and then he's going to be like a refugee kind of crime boss, right? But that's not what happened. Like, by the middle of the season, and this is when we got the agent Sadim, I think his name is. Damn, I hope I didn't forget that. When we got his revelation, where he was put into that corner of being framed potentially for the murder of an agent, and that being used as leverage for him to be then used as part of this inner circle of FBI employees that were now working for Fisk, including the head of this bureau, of this sort of this New York wing of the FBI. At that moment, like that, when it happened with him, when he was forced to kind of be brought into the inner circle, that's when it became 100% clear the kind of power that Wilson Fisk had, and it came through as authentic Wilson Fisk, as authentic the Kingpin, and that's when he actually started being called the Kingpin. When he walks out and he has the FBI protecting him, he gets the agent to take off his ankle bracelet, and then his security detail is the head of the FBI and her, and probably some of her important lieutenants within the FBI. I mean, at that moment, it was like, this is exactly what it needed to be. Like, this is exactly who the Kingpin is. He is able to corrupt power at the highest levels. He has his hands in every jar that you can think of, every cookie jar you can think of. And he is using that power to further his own ends, and nobody can stop him. Like, that is at that moment, like that's what came through in the storytelling, and that's what I felt as a viewer, and I was floored. And then I was floored most of this season. Like, the first couple episodes, it's like, what's going on? Where are they going with this? Like, where it's like you're kind of feeling it out. But then as soon as it started to become clear, I was like, shit. Yes. Fucking yes. Like, and then of course we had confrontations between Daredevil and Bullseye, which was fantastic. And then it just, everything kept escalating. There were just like more and more revelations. Like, the world kept becoming more and more dangerous for these characters. It kept becoming more and more uncertain whether or not like they would even be able to make it through this whole thing. I had no idea how they were going to resolve things. I don't know how I feel about the way they resolved it. I kind of wanted Kingpin to get away with his wife, but that really wouldn't have put a nice kind of bow on the season, like kind of tied it up nicely. I guess you did need him to be brought down again, but I like the idea of this season being about the reemergence of Wilson Fisk as this like powerful figure of crime that is a threat to no matter who you are, no matter what kind of power you might have, he will be a threat to you, and it's almost impossible to be able to stop him. I like the idea of that continuing, because I want the Kingpin to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because the Kingpin has always been a part of the Marvel Universe. And for them to do such a great job of portraying the Kingpin and bringing to this portrayal like an authenticity of the power and believability of this crime boss, I just feel like it's a missed opportunity to not bring him into, the film universe. But also, I don't want him taken out of this, because like, if that had happened, we never would have gotten this season. And this season is just, like I said, it's some of the best storytelling I've seen, period. And certainly, again, like the best season of television I've seen since the last season of Game of Thrones. Now, I watch a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of good stuff. This is at the very top for me now. This was so good. This was so incredibly good. I can't wait to start hearing the reactions of people for this season, like all the general online pundits, the Collider folks and Screen Junkies and all these folks that talk about this stuff continuously. Because I know that like there's gonna be there's going to be reverberations throughout the geek community and the general audience that likes to watch Netflix stuff from this season of television, because it's so fucking good. It's so incredibly, like, every episode you're just like at the edge of your seat. Now, I will say there was one time where I felt like, the only time throughout the season where I felt like the momentum was hurt a bit, and that was when we got Karen Page's backstory. It just didn't feel like the right time. I understand what happened at that point, where it was like, okay, Kingpin is going after Karen. He wants to kill Karen now that he knows that she's the one responsible for killing his right-hand man. And I get why we got the backstory at the time we did, but I did feel like it was a bit long, and it did kind of stop the momentum. But it also gave us a moment to breathe before, like this series of 3 episodes that followed, which were like non-stop. And really, like, that night where where he was attempting to kill her, Bullseye was attempting to kill her on behalf of Kingpin, and then he winds up killing the priest, and then there's like the search throughout the church. That was an epic night, and it felt like the right night for all of this to kind of come to a head, but that wasn't it. We still had, like, that whole sequence following up where Agent Sadim was then, going to testify against the Kingpin, and then Matt trying to get him to the courthouse, and then, him dying, and then we get that final episode, the wedding episode, and then that incredible final fucking battle between the Kingpin, fucking Bullseye, and Daredevil in the Kingpin's fucking penthouse, which was fucking exquisite. It was like the perfect way to fucking end the season, like, to have just a physical confrontation between them. And like that moment where like Matt and the Kingpin are like squaring off against each other, and they start growling, "Rah!" and they like go at each other. Oh man, that was like perfection. Like, yes, that is exactly what I would want from that moment. Both of them, so much going through them, so much fucking anger, just passion, just frustration, just every different emotion that these two fucking powerful beings had all come into a head, and it being ready to be let loose against each other. And like, it was such a beautiful moment. And then to have Bullseye come in, and the 3-way fight between them. But there was a fucking moment in this season that was incredible. I think that was the moment where I started to realize, like, this is next level fucking storytelling. This is next level fucking television filmmaking. And that was the prison scene. Now, there was a point, and I do need to watch it again, but there was a point where I realized this is all one take. And obviously this is all a callback to that incredible, I think it was like the 3rd episode, where Matt Murdock is rescuing like these kids that are being taken away into some sort of fucking slavery. And then they have that great fucking hallway scene where it's like one take, and we see him fighting all these motherfuckers like in a hallway inside a room. And it's a really small space, but like they used it so well, and it was so dynamic, and it was incredible. And they had that incredible second sequence in the second season at the prison, where I believe it was Frank Castle that was involved in a really elaborate, and I think a Kingpin as well. I have to go. I'm gonna go watch. I haven't watched all the. There's no time to rewatch good stuff these days, right? So you're constantly trying to keep up with the new stuff, so it's hard to go back. But I'm gonna go back and watch all the fucking Netflix shows again, because I need to, because I forget, about how good everything was leading up to what we saw this season. But there was this really great like sequence within the prison as well. But it was nowhere near this amazing sequence when Matt is in that prison. He goes into that nurse's office, to get treated because he'd been hurt or whatever. The nurse tries to attack him, and then it becomes clear that Fisk is involved and has attempted to entrap him within a prison. And the question is, like, how does Matt Murdock get out of a fucking prison? Like, he's not just in like some underground criminal lair. It's like, this is a place where he's supposed to be safe. And he's not a prisoner. He hasn't committed a crime. He hasn't been convicted of anything. He hasn't been sentenced to so many years in prison. He's just there as a lawyer. But they're like entrapping him. And he's in the middle of like having all these motherfuckers, like the prison guards and even like some of the inmates going after him, and he's like fighting his way out of it, and the thing that's incredible is like I think it's one fucking take from the room in the hospital, in the nurse or in the clinic or whatever within the prison, to the point that he is taken out of the prison through the gate where he escapes. Everything that went on there, I believe, was one take, and it was crazy. And I just kept thinking, like, this is why it took so long to get season 3 of Daredevil. I know people were like complaining about it. When are we going to get season 3 of Daredevil? Why is it taking so long? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, because they're taking their fucking time. That's why. Because they're making incredible fucking television. That sequence itself must have taken, I'm going to say, a couple of months to plan and to practice. Because everything has to be right? And I don't know how many takes they must have done it in. I'm gonna assume something like that, maybe like 3 or 4 takes. If they took like 3 or 4 months, probably 2 months to like plan it and practice it and make sure that all the camera movements are right and all the characters are doing the things they're supposed to. All the lighting is correct in all the different areas. Like there's so much to take into account for, because the thing that's important, and this is something I learned back in film school when I was in film school, is that when you're moving the camera through different spaces, like not only do you have to have camera movements set up, not only do you have to have blocking set up properly so that people are moving the right way, but also like the lighting has to be accounted for in adjustments in the aperture on the camera as well as the focus, and so all of that has to be planned if you're going to do one take. Now, I have to go back and see if it was one take. And there's this movie called Rope. It's a Hitchcock film. And he basically tried to do like a one take film. And there are I believe 8 cuts in that film, but they're like hidden, you know? It's like hard to catch them. I don't know if they did that here. There's some really great sequences like that. Like there's, if you've ever seen Children of Men has some incredible like one take sequences through war zones. It's crazy. So like, I mean, clearly like they're not doing anything innovative here, but the fact that they're doing it for a television show and they keep upping the ante every season with a sequence like that is so impressive. And like, as it was happening, I was like, I can't believe this. I can't fucking believe this is happening. And then it was happening and it kept going. I was just like, this is fucking crazy. This is exciting. What's going to happen? This is great. And I couldn't stop watching. And it was so invigorating and I fucking loved it. But again, like the main event of the season was the reascendance of Wilson Fisk, the way that he did it, the revelation that he had been manipulating everybody from the get-go. And he had orchestrated this incredibly elaborate ruse to get himself out of prison first, and then to get his, and I didn't see his conviction getting overturned part. I thought he was just going to remain like under house arrest but be the kingpin, because clearly he could still move in and out of the hotel. I thought that's what it was going to happen, but eventually like he got his conviction overturned, and then he got Vanessa back. That was fucking great. And like the stuff with Vanessa, the actress herself, I don't love the actress herself. And I don't think it's her in terms of her ability. I just don't think that she's exactly who I would probably want to be Vanessa. Nonetheless, like the authenticity of what he feels for her, like makes it special, the connection they have, and like any shortcomings she might have, like he more than makes up for it. So it basically doesn't even exist in the end. But like I totally 100% bought his need to have her in his life, and for her to be like the one thing that he truly loves and values and will protect. And I love that they held it off till nearly the end. I love that he had that wonderful moment with, by the way, Leslie Ann Warren, the lady that owned that hotel, that fucking, the painting that he wanted, who told her fucking story about, you know, the Nazis coming and killing her father in front of her. And that is why she can't give up the fucking painting. Like, and then him deciding that he's going to let her have the painting, even though it meant so much to him. But like seeing that side of him, you know, that compassionate side, and it was about him knowing that that's what Vanessa would want. It adds that extra layer of complexity to his character, that dynamism of emotion, of range, of like what this monster can feel, that just makes him like so much more real and so much more impactful as a character. Every moment that we had with him was just so much about that, just kind of elevating the authenticity of him. And like, and God, what's his name? D'Onofrio, Vincent D'Onofrio, that played the Kingpin. He does such an incredible job. He has to be nominated for an Emmy. Like, he has to be given something for this. Somebody better be given some award for fucking Daredevil season 3, because what they did was magic. It was nothing short of magic, and it felt like the Dark Knight. Like there were qualities there of the Dark Knight where it was like everything was playing out so perfectly that as a viewer, I just felt helpless. I felt like, well, there's no fucking way they're getting out of this one. Like, the threat is bigger than they can handle. You know, that's how I felt with the Dark Knight. Because I remember, like it felt like the Joker could do anything. He could manipulate anybody. And that's exactly what I felt here. So definitely there were shades of that. I'm sure there was inspiration from that. You know? Like that sort of inability of anyone to be safe, anyone to be protected. That was prevalent throughout, and they put in all the resources to make sure that we got that. Like, I mean, all these sequences outside with all these different police vehicles, and in the church, outside the church, on the city streets, like all of it, like they spared no expense on it, and like, good, thank you. You're gonna tell a story of this scope and magnitude on the street level. You know, where you don't have some fucking supernatural being trying to like destroy everybody with a snap, even though fucking Infinity War rocks. And that's not what I was making fun of. I was making fun of actually Suicide Squad with the Enchantress. Horrible. When you don't have something like that, it's like, no, you better fucking make sure that everyone is as they should be. Everybody has like the right quality of costume. Everything's lit properly. All the moving parts that are everywhere are being controlled in a way that makes it all feel like it's real. And that's what happened. And that's why I got that feeling that we got in The Dark Knight, because again, like every aspect of this world that was being presented to us, Hell's Kitchen, at every level, police, FBI, the clergy, and of course just like the characters, like it all played true. Now, the thing that was interesting to me was that I did not see coming was the killing of Julie, that redheaded girl that Bullseye was stalking. Because you know, there was that point where Bullseye stopped. Like she blocked him and said for him to never contact her again. And I thought that was all that was, where like Wilson Fisk, you know, had it orchestrated where like she blocked, like somehow like he, you know, they intercepted her phone, her messages or whatever, and like sent him these messages to make him think that she didn't want to see him again. But I didn't see the killing of her coming, and that was perfect to churn Bullseye, because I don't think anything else would have changed my mind about what his original loyalty was to Kingpin. Like, I didn't think there was anything that could affect that. I love the development of their relationship and the moments that ultimately led to Kingpin identifying him as the caliber villain that he could be, and then encouraging that. Like, I love that whole thing, and that was fucking amazing and incredible. And so, because it was so good, it would have been really difficult to buy that could have all been undone so easily. And that was the one thing that would have done it. Like, I thought that the revelation about the phone calls and the texts being fake would eventually come to light, and that might affect Bullseye. But I never thought it would affect him in the way that it would turn him against the Kingpin I just didn't feel like it had that kind of gravitas to it. But the killing of Julie, and then him seeing the body, and then him him having the body in the car, kind of like Norman having his mom, you know, in that chair in fucking Bates Motel, in the Bates Motel in Psycho. It's a second reference to Hitchcock. Anyway, that made it all true for me. It made it all, you know, resonate as valid. Like, okay, this would turn him. This would break him, and he would want to go after Fisk with everything he's got. He did. And then finally we get this incredible confrontation between him, Fisk, and Murdoch. But Murdoch himself, like everything that was going on with him, the revelation about his mom being a nun, loved that whole story. There was so much good stuff going on with every character, with every character's backstory, with all the elements surrounding their lives. It's like everything worked, and it's like it had the ability to be a jumbled mess, like too much stuff, too many working parts. You know, not enough attention over here, too much attention over here. It ultimately falling apart, and it didn't in any way. Like it never felt that way. Again, there was that one moment with Karen. I appreciated it, and it was maybe the right time to take a breath for the viewer. But nonetheless, I think that would have worked a little better prior, and then, you know, the momentum forward, I would have been comfortable with it. Even though it is nice to always get that break where you get this a moment to breathe right before the crazy sort of final sequence of events that finishes the season. It's always nice to have that. And so I appreciated it, but anyway, it was the only part of the show that I would criticize this season. Beyond that, fantastic. That final fucking confrontation between the Kingpin, Murdoch, and Bullseye, and with Vanessa in the room. Oh, so good. So fucking good. And then, and just right before that, seeing Wilson Fisk in that white suit with the red rose. I mean, that is fucking classic. That is classic the Kingpin from the comic book. I love that they did that to him. And like even before that with the white suit and the black shirt, like, and he had like, you know, multiple of them in the closet, and it was like this really dope like white silky suit that he was wearing, and the bald head. It's like, this is the fucking Kingpin. Like there's no denying that this is the Kingpin. And then when he put that rose on, I was like, oh my God, I got fucking goosebumps in that moment. It was so fucking authentic to the character. You know, just putting that final touch that really solidified like the authenticity of him on the show. And then at the end, to see that white suit like all bloodied, and Daredevil coming so close to killing him but not doing so, and then Daredevil making that deal with him to keep Froggy and Karen safe, and the idea that now Kingpin is going to prison again. Interesting place to leave the season, but good. You know, obviously, like, they did such a good job of bringing Kingpin back that it's like, well, what the fuck can they do now? But like, I think now what they have to do, and they have no choice, is to have him escape and then him be a refugee, but still have power. You know, kind of playing in the shadows, and maybe manipulating others to do his work, while him remaining kind of safe somewhere where he can't be touched. That would probably be the best thing for the show to do. I don't know what they're going to do, but clearly they have plans. Bullseye's coming back, so that's a good thing. So we're going to see some of that. You know, it's like after season 2, it's like, well, they did a great job with the Punisher. They did a great job with Elektra. What are they going to do next? And they did it. And I'm pretty sure, I know that there are some people that are involved throughout, but like this season, because the first season was Stephen DeKnight, and the second season was Drew Goddard. But I don't think Drew Goddard did this season. He did not do this season. Somebody else did this season, but like it keeps getting better. It's like, and that's a very difficult thing to pull off when you're constantly changing the main creative forces behind the show, but yet they're doing it. And I think it has a lot to do with Stephen DeKnight and Drew Goddard really kind of building this thing up in the right way. And also the people that they probably brought around them to bring all this to life to begin with. Like, they're still, part of them are still involved. And I'm sure the new showrunner is one of these people. And so, you know, there we're getting a connection to the sensibilities that made the show great to begin with, and allowed it to be elevated to the level that it has been now with Daredevil season 3, which was fucking amazing. It was fucking amazing. It was incredible. I can't say enough good stuff about it. So happy that this exists. And it's like I want to say, like, I look forward to more, but it's like I don't want it to, like, if there's going to be more and it's not going to be as good, like, I don't want it to mar this. Can they keep it up? Can they keep getting better? Maybe. We'll see. But for now they did, and I'm really happy about it. Anyway, folks, those are my thoughts in 35 minutes on an entire season of Daredevil that I could not stop watching. I started watching, I was like, I'll watch a couple of episodes, maybe I'll just like, I'll watch it over the next few weeks, and then I was all in. I just, anything I had to do, I canceled. I stopped doing the things I needed to do, and I just did this because that's the kind of show this was, and it's rare to have that. It's rare to find that, and yet that's what this was. And so I'm sure that if you're watching this, you watched this already, and the same thing happened for you. So yay for us as fans, right? We get to enjoy things like this. Wow. Man, this made my fucking month. It might have made my year. Actually, no, Infinity War did that. I'm not going to lie. Infinity War is better than this. Anyway, folks, thanks for checking out my channel. If you haven't already done so, click on that little button down there, the subscribe button. It'll help you keep up with my latest content. I've got The Gifted that I'm reviewing on a weekly episode basis right now. The show is, it's not this caliber of storytelling, but it can be. Like, I got shades of it last season. I think this season's building up to some pretty cool shit. So if you haven't checked that out, I would recommend catching up on it and then, sharing your thoughts with me. Share your thoughts with me on this show on the comment section. Let me know what you think about the show, because it's fucking great, and we should have a discussion about it. Anyway, as always, I want to remind you that if you haven't already, you better put an X in that box, because ain't nobody checking me. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.